If you guys subscribe to my channel, you would know that I am incredibly bullish on ICP and the entire altcoin market. And although the price action for these coins has been pretty horrendous lately, I think it is becoming more and more likely that we are either at a bottom or very close to one. Now, of course, it is impossible for me to say with 100% certainty that the bottom is in, and that is not the point of this video, but I did want to bring to your guys' attention a very important indicator that just flashed that a lot of people are overlooking. And what I mean by that is the fact that the United States manufacturing PMI chart has printed a 52.4 today, and that is the second month in a row that we have printed this above a 50. If you guys are unfamiliar with this chart, if we are below a 50, it basically means we are in a very uncertain times for the overall United States economy. But if we are above a 50, it means that we are entering an expansion phase for the overall economy, and manufacturers are very confident that they can go ahead and make more goods because they will be inevitably purchased. Now, I know a lot of you might be like, what does that have to do with crypto? We're talking about manufacturers. Well, it actually has a lot to do with crypto, and this chart is highly correlated with these assets. If you think about it, guys, if manufacturers are confident that they can produce more goods because demand is either high or increasing, that means that the everyday person has more money to spend, and if the everyday person has more money to spend, they also have more money to invest. And you can really see that when you take a look at what happened with this chart back in early 2020 all the way through late 2021. In April of 2020, this chart did hit a bottom at 41.7, which did make a lot of sense. That was during the peak COVID fear, and nobody was really making money at that time. A lot of people were unemployed, and it was just a very scary and uncertain time overall. And you can see that that did reflect on the price of Bitcoin. Back in April of 2020, we were sitting at $6,800, and it seemed like a very bearish and scary time to be investing into Bitcoin. And then after April, you can see that this chart went parabolic for about the next year or so, as we went all the way from a 41 to a 64.7 in March of 2021. Now, when we go back to the price of Bitcoin, you can see that Bitcoin also went parabolic in that same period of time. Now, it was delayed just a bit, and that is actually normal for this chart. This is a leading indicator, so that is why you really haven't seen this reflected on the price of Bitcoin just yet. But once Bitcoin did start to pump, it rallied all the way until April of 2021, and we went from, as I mentioned earlier, $6,000 all the way up to $60,000. And then when you go back to the ISM chart, you can see that we didn't continue to go parabolic, but we did stay elevated until the end of 2021, and that same exact thing happened with Bitcoin. And then fast forward to early 2022, and the United States Fed decided that they were going to tighten up their overall economic policy, hike rates, and start quantitative tightening. And then you can see that this chart fell like a rock from January of 2022 all the way down to March of 2023. Now, of course, that was reflected on the price of Bitcoin as well. As you can see here, we did go from $63,000 all the way down to $16,000 in about that same period of time. So when we take a look at what's been happening recently on the ISM chart, you can see that we've essentially been trading sideways since April of 2023 with a very slight uptrend. And Bitcoin has actually done well during this time, but guys, I think that that is mainly because we have had so much institutional adoption, and of course the United States government flipped pro-crypto. So yeah, Bitcoin has been in a quote-unquote bull market since 2023, at least until the end of 2025 in terms of price. But guys, the overall economy was not necessarily in a good spot during that time. So now that the ISM has finally broken above a 52, if this does continue and we can push up towards the 55 to 60 levels, just imagine what the price of Bitcoin and of course all altcoins could theoretically do. Now guys, I understand that this video was about ICP, and it is actually about ICP. I just think it is very important to look at Bitcoin because we will not go on a parabolic run for this project unless Bitcoin returns to its all-time high. But I do believe that Bitcoin could return to its all-time high before the end of 2026, and I think it's much more likely than what a lot of people think. So say that that does end up happening, the ISM goes crazy, everybody has more money to spend and invest, that is when I reasonably expect ICP to start to go parabolic. Now, I talk about ICP's narrative a lot on this channel, so I'm not going to get into it too much. Just know that it is one of the best layer 1 projects in my opinion, and it has an emphasis on AI and privacy, two of the hottest sectors in all of crypto. So with that being said, I think that it is in the realm of possibilities for ICP to get somewhere between a $30 to $50 billion market cap. So if you are accumulating at these heavy discounts, you could theoretically 20 to 40x your investment within the next 12 to 24 months. Now, of course, that is not financial advice, and that is just my opinion, and I think it is very important to sell on the way up so you don't end up round tripping your entire bag. But just know, guys, everybody on social media right now is incredibly bearish, but I actually believe that now is the time to be bullish and accumulating. And the last thing that I did want to mention is, yes, of course we could continue to go down in the short term. I mean, there is so much uncertainty taking place in the overall macro economy. The main thing right now is, of course, this conflict between the United States and Iran, and you can see that late last night, Iran did say that they will not negotiate with the United States. Personally, guys, I think that it is likely that Iran will cave at some point, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, so that this isn't a prolonged war situation. But if anything does escalate with this, you could reasonably expect more pain in the crypto market. But at the end of the day, this is just short-term FUD, and it will inevitably clear up at some point. So I definitely do not think you should be panic selling your bag just because of this war situation. But alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, stay strong, stay bullish, and ignore the FUD. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.